To break my talk box out. Talking out the side of my neck.
Hey.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Hey. Talk box at. I'll do the whole show in talk box voice next time.
Hey. You gotta sing the headlines.
Too funky. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Zombieing in here on a Monday morning. Tired, boss. Tired.
Man. Somebody's got a case of the Mondays.
No, man. I think you get beat up if you said something like that. Wait a minute. Why is your head so much bigger than mine?
Yeah, I just saw that. Let me
line it up around now.
Yeah, now you all in the camera.
Whew. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome. Dang it, welcome. First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning. Yeah, I need my
You little lemon tea.
No, I need that voice box.
Oh,
yeah.
What's
man,
going
can you
on?
imagine that with that jingle with a voice box?
I'm gonna do it. Watch, I'm gonna do it.
Man.
We're gonna do that. Good morning, good morning. First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
Hey, see, you hear it.
I'll do it now. Thanks for joining us. We'll talk about that little talk box situation later. Appreciate you guys joining us all early in the morning right here. This is, what is it, Monday, February 6th, 2023. We already got people jumping in the chat. Good morning, Pops. He says, good Monday morning, First Sky crew and fam. What's happening with you? Ronnie Shields, what's going on, my man? Bozak in the house. Good morning, good morning, good morning from California. Appreciate you tuning in so early, my man. Lucia Rodriguez gives us a buenos dias in the dias. Good morning to you as well. Appreciate you coming on in. He says, hit the like. He's over there on YouTube. Appreciate you, man. Wanda Lewis gives us a good morning. Mama God says, good morning, First Sky fam. Good morning, my family. I appreciate y'all very much. Mickey Young says, good morning, good people. Good morning to you as well. Appreciate you guys tuning in so early. We struggling this morning.
Man,
it is. I don't know what's going on, but changing weather, something. I don't know what's happening, but sinuses and just tired and just we struggling. But we are here and excited to be here and have these conversations. Lots going on. Josh Tate gets us the top of the morning to you. I saw Josh the other day, man.
Oh, okay.
We was out and about and ran into him at waiting room. So I was like, man, it's good to see one of the chat chimers out here. That's what's up.
Nice. What was going down at the waiting room?
Sacho Grande, band, a local band I heard named Sacho Grande was playing. We had a show with Chris Lager at the Benson Theater that night, Friday night. And by the way,
packed house.
Danny Cleveland killed the game on stage that night. She's one of my favorite singers in Omaha. And after that show was over, we kind of wandered down the street and saw what was going on. And there was a show going on with Sacho Grande at waiting room. So slid in, got a groove on a little bit.
Yeah, I actually saw it was a couple local shows over the weekend. I came across during the HAPS that I just didn't mention. Shout out to everybody getting out and about.
Yep. And those of you that made it to the DJ battles over at Culture House, let us know how that went too. If you went, check that out. I got looked like it went off pretty good according to their Facebook pages and all that, all their posts. So yeah, there was a lot going on, man. And did anybody catch the Grammys last night? You know we got to talk. You know we're musicians that got to talk about the
Man.
Grammys. So yeah, Grammys. Did you watch the Grammys? Let us know what the highlight. Of course, they did 50 years of hip hop, which was incredible, incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the fellas, man.
Yeah, I mean, but it's this whole year, this celebration of hip hop. That's what this battle, was about. That's what the Grammys was all about. And we're gonna
Yep,
keep
yep.
that same energy all year. But yeah, definitely shout out to the homies out there, man. Shout out to my man Jerry. I didn't know he was getting down. But yeah, man. I get kid. Yeah. Shout out to all the heads.
That's what's up, man. Culture House doing the thing. Let us know if you
Man.
showed up for that. If you went to the DJ battles, I think I saw Michelle Troxclair out there last night.
Yeah.
At it. So
And
that's
then
what's
the
up.
winner goes on to Benson B side or the Benson Theater, not the B side, but the actual theater.
Yep. No more B side. It's all
Yeah.
about the Benson Theater. So yeah, that's the show coming up there. We'll definitely be talking about that too a little later on. Oh, I didn't even load it. Oh, did I? Yeah, I think I did load it. Yeah, this is the concert coming up. So the winner of last night, who we haven't got word who that is yet, but when
Mm.
whoever that is gonna be down at the Benson Theater on February 12th, DJing for the Ode to Hip Hop concert. That's Thailand Music and her band, and then of course Marcy Yates Light Pole. They're gonna rap with the band, and then they'll have the DJ there, the winner that won last night. So get your tickets for that. You can go to bensontheater.org, hit that up, get your tickets to support that one. Michelle booked it and said, "Oh, that's." And then a little later on, somebody said, "Ain't that the day of the Super Bowl?" And then she hit me up trying to change the date.
Mm.
They're full up now. You might say, I don't know what's gonna happen, but I think what we're gonna do is just run the show a little late so people can get their Super Bowl on too and come on down.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah, we'll see what's happening. But yeah, so lots going on, and of course, a lot politically going on over
Yes.
the
Yes.
weekend too. Did anybody catch the town hall at North High with the senators? That's another one I want to know if anybody showed up to. Channel 3 aired a piece last night that I can't find today. I
Man.
don't know why. But yeah, they aired a little bit about what happened, what Justin Wayne said in front of the crowd, some of the questions, and they even pulled Senator Terrell McKinney, put some respect on his name outside and talked to him, interviewed him as well, and not to be found anywhere. So I don't understand. It was on TV last night, but not on their website this morning. So don't know. But anyway, we will talk about it, and I do believe there's a couple chat chimers that were there, and we can get some updates on that, along with the political summit that Preston Love put on as well. That happened over the weekend too, and everybody said that was lit as well. There was a lot of big turnout, a lot of good stuff talked about. So I can't wait to get some reviews. The reviews are coming in. The not the reviews, but the reports are coming in, and I can't wait to hear about how those events went as
Yeah,
well.
man.
Michelle Moreno gives us a good morning, everyone. Good morning to you. Thanks for joining us on this Monday, the 6th of February, Black History Month, going down 50 years of hip hop all year. And buddy, I can't believe you didn't watch the Grammys last night.
Man, I was in Temple, had to, be with my Temple fam. But
True that.
yeah, I'm gonna go back and watch definitely that ode to hip hop performance. Again, I was on, kind of telling you before the show, I was on Instagram last night, after Temple, and kind
Yeah.
of saw some of the after uh I guess the after shock, or I can't really think, but just the commotion after that performance, and watching backstage and just some of the love between artists, Melly Mel and Busta Rhymes showing some love. I think I did see like a couple of Wu-Tang cats back there, like just the scene, man, the scene. And if you really love hip-hop, it's a beautiful thing to be just amongst that energy, you know what I mean, just amongst that love that everybody shares for hip-hop together. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing.
If you guys don't know, they did an ode to hip hop with they did like a medley of hip hop classics at the end of the show. In celebration of 50 years of hip hop, and I'm talking about everybody came. It was like LL went off first. Then it was like Melly Mel and the Furious Five came out. Like, old school stuff. Old
Man.
heads. Rakim came out clean, doing microphone fiend. Like
Mm.
it was just super dope, man.
And the Dapper
But
Dan special.
Dapper Dan, he was Dapper Dan up, but you can tell it was a brand new Dapper Dan suit from like the spirit of back in the day, but a new one. And
Mm.
then Public Enemy hit the stage, man. De La Soul hit the stage. Ice T hit the stage and did New Jack Hustler. I was thinking of Mayor Sanchez. I was like,
It's complete.
De La Soul jumped out, man. Pasta Noose did a verse. UNITY, Queen Latifah did UNITY, had everybody going crazy. Big Boy came out and did an Outkast song. Busta Rhymes came out and did his super fast rap. Missy Elliott came out with a dance troupe and did her thing. And then Too Short got in the middle and turned it out. Man, it was like at one artist after another just going, oh no, I can't believe it. It was like just surprising you with just everybody from back in the day. So I was it was I felt very seen. It was like that was my generation. That was
Man,
my childhood. They just went through.
man, it's a beautiful thing, man. I feel like hip hop, finally getting its flowers in a way, because I mean, it was a couple years ago. What was it? I think when Chris Rock hosted the Grammys, they were like trying to boycott it, and it
What?
wasn't that long ago. It wasn't that long ago. There was a lot of talk of boycott, like black artists, quote unquote, boycotting the Grammys.
Oh, black artists, yeah, because it
Yeah,
was
yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah,
And
yeah,
that's what
yeah.
I'm saying. And for now that they have a whole hip hop
Oh, they turned it
explosion.
around. They turned
Yeah,
it around.
man. Yeah, man.
I got to mention also, if we're talking about this, I got to mention Beyonce broke records,
Hmm.
most Grammys ever. Now that was a huge record she broke.
Okay.
And also Viola Davis got EGOT status as of last night. So what's EGOT is Emmys, Grammys,
Grammys.
Oscars, and Tonys.
Yep. Yep.
So she's one of maybe 3 or 4 other people that got it.
Killing it on
So
stage, on the silver screen, and in the recording studio.
that's right. Brand new Grammy for poetry. I just got reminded, Buddy just
Yeah.
reminded me about.
Jay Ivy.
Yep. There's like a lifetime kind of a Dr. Dre lifetime achievement kind of. I can't remember the name of that award, but there's a new award that goes out now that he got last night. And then there was this one was really interesting. This social conscious music.
Hmm.
They recognize that in every movement there's a Bob Dylan in the back in the days and a We Gonna Be All Right in the Black Lives Matter movement. You know what I'm saying? So they recognize that there's songs that reach the world for social change, and they got a Grammy for that now. So yeah, they dug deep, man. Pulled out some new Grammys. Pulled out, definitely looked at hip hop this year in a big way.
Man.
I was proud.
I was
Felt
gonna say,
good.
it almost felt like a crowning. I mean, they say hip hop is new rock and roll, but it's like a final recognition of that. Like it's been that. We already know it's been that, but
Wow, yeah,
feels more
it's
like that.
it's been bigger than rock and roll now for the past 5 or 6 years. They
Man.
remember when they made that announcement that it's the biggest music genre in the world now. So
Yep.
that's what it is, man. Like and subscribe, like Ariel's 402 is saying. If you're over there on YouTube, appreciate that. If you're on Facebook, do me a favor, share the show. We want to have as many people in to talk today as we can on some of these subjects. Karlha Valesquez from El Perico will be in as a special guest a little later on, so stay tuned for her. It's always a pleasure to talk to Karlha.
Yeah,
Uh,
man.
yeah, and then let's talk about some of these meetings that just happened over the weekend as well. If you guys were there, let us know, and a few more things we'll talk about. As a matter of fact, Buddy, I'm gonna run down a couple things that we got going on.
Yeah, yeah. Again, if you're at anything, let us know. Of course, we're definitely continuing to look at what's going on in the legislature. A lot of testimony went down on Friday. Again, still looking at, I believe LB 18 is the number. Again, that's the law to help bring Ernest Jackson home. They're calling it the Ernest Jackson bill, but this law can help a lot of people who might be serving time unjustly to get a new trial based on newly discovered evidence. That's what this bill surrounds. So we'll kind of talk about some of the testimony that went down on Friday. And then also looking at some money, continuing to follow the bag, if you will, follow the money, continuing the season theme from last season, and looking at some of these millions coming into the city of Omaha. Apparently, the city of Omaha just received 34.3 million for lead removal. That's definitely a topic we discussed here on the show. So definitely love to hear your thoughts on that. And my first question is, where's that going? Who does that go to? Who are they paying to remove the lead? And then also 24th Street, the 24th Street corridor, the 24th Street streetscape master plan just received a boost from the city of Omaha and the federal government, I believe, to the tune of $7 million. So we'll talk about that
Yeah,
Also continuing to look at what's going on with the schools. If you remember, Pillen in his first days as governor of Nebraska is hitting the ground running, and I wouldn't say attacking. I guess some would say attacking, but addressing the schools in Nebraska. OPS is opposing his bill, the school funding proposal. Again, there is some favoritism, if you will, being shown towards private schools. So we will continue that conversation. Paul and I kind of got a little spirited debate. So yeah, I would like to continue that conversation. Of course, let your mind be free, let your voice be heard. Let us know how you're feeling, what you think was going on in your world. Feel free to jump into the chat. But anyway, let's go ahead and get this thing rolling, man. Big shout out to all the chat chimers. But even if you're just listening, doing what you do in the morning, all the ghost listeners, we appreciate you as well. Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, all of you. Let's go.
Let's do it. What up? What up? What up? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
I'm Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd. All of you chat chimers, all of you ghost listeners, thanks for joining us this early in the morning on this Monday, the 6th of February. It's 7:17 right now, if you believe in the concept of time, right here in Omaha, Nebraska. It's supposed to be warming up, but we also got a little chance of snow happening coming through today too. But I don't know. It's a weird mix because it's kind of warm and kind of snowy.
It's gonna be slushy.
Yeah, that don't sound fun at all either. But yeah, watch yourself. We're still in the middle of it, but there's supposed to be roller coaster weather happening up and down here this next week or two. So watch out for that and keep your eye on loved ones and all that good stuff. I don't know if you guys have any people out in the Middle East, but there's a big earthquake, one of the biggest ones I ever seen, 7.8, which is huge, bro.
Ain't like a 4, like almost catastrophic.
I mean, a 5 and a 6 can be. I'll put to you like this: growing up in California, we were scared of the 7.8s and 8s. Like 8 would have been just tore that whole city down. So, so that's what they're going through over there. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people passed away, and they're saying it's from the buildings. The buildings, inside the buildings, and the buildings falling. And then it was 2 right in a row. One was 7.2, I believe, and the other one was 7.8 right in a row. So, yeah, man, big time stuff going on in the world. Insane. Prayers goes out to them for sure, because that's just, I can't even imagine, and it's on my mind because, like I said, coming from California, that's a heavy report right there.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, check on your people if you have any out there for sure. Like we said, we'll definitely be talking about a few things today. We give us your Grammy experience. If you watched the Grammys last night with us, we're a couple musicians, so we definitely gonna have things to say about the Grammys. So let me know if you watched it last night, if you got hyped like I did with the 50 years of hip hop celebration that they had at the end with everybody coming on stage. And let us know again if you went to any of the town hall meeting with brothers Senators Justin Wayne and Terrell McKinney over at North High last night. They had a lot to say about what was going on. They were answering questions. They were fielding the crowd. There was a couple of people that were pretty mad about what was going on. They had to try to temper those things. Let us know if you went and what you heard, and also let us know if you went to the political summit this weekend as well with Preston Love over on 30th Street there at the Highlander Accelerator. So yeah, always looking for personal reports. If you've been to any of these meetings, if you're in the chat chimers section here, go ahead and hit us up. Let us know how it went. I do know that Kimra Snipes will give us a little bit of a report on these things on Wednesday as well. So she was at a few of them, and we'll be talking to her about it as well. But in the meantime, between time, yeah, got some things that we're going to jump into now. So, buddy, I'll quit talking. Go ahead and let you get in on it.
I mean, you teed me up right nicely, man. We're going to start off right there with that political summit. Again, more than 100 people reportedly showed up. So I know one of y'all. I know one of y'all had to be a part of that 100. Somebody, somebody had to pull up, man. So definitely let us know if you made it through. And big shout out to Brother Preston Love Jr. and Black Votes Matter and Brother Cliff Albright from right here in Atlanta. Black Voters Matter for teaming up again. That Omaha Atlanta connection that we've been talking about, we've been championing. Now coming to fruition, manifesting itself in Omaha. And shout out to again, part of the crew, one of our chat chimers, Sister Kimber Snipes, for helping bring that together. So definitely love to hear her report on Wednesday. But again, I'm happy to see that there was a decent turnout. Again, more than 100 Omahans gathered, according to Omaha World Herald. It was a high energy, nonpartisan workshop aimed at creating a plan to increase voter turnout and civic engagement in North Omaha. The event was hosted again by Preston Love Jr. And represented in first. Actually, Preston Love Jr., who is the founder of Black Voters Matter, and also represented the first step in the creation of a comprehensive 18-month plan to boost voter turnout in the 2024 election cycle, which we know is definitely going to be interesting with names like Trump and who else knows being thrown into the fray. Possibly a Kanye West sighting. Yeah, well, we'll see, but we definitely need to start preparing and getting our ducks in a row. So I'm glad to hear that this was a meeting to come together for a plan, and there's action steps and there's motion going. North Omaha has long lagged behind the rest of the city. Of course, we've talked about it ad nauseum here on the show as far as our get out the vote efforts. Of course, Ballot of the Bullet was a whole theme for a season, so we're all too familiar with those issues. And again, in 2022, only about 45% of North Omahans registered to vote. And that's only registered. That's not to mention the actual number who went out and voted. That's just the people who are registered. Defined by Love as City Council Districts 1 and 2, that was 9% points lower than the overall Douglas County turnout. So definitely have a lot of work to do. According to this plan, the goals set by Love and other organizers are that they hope to register 15,000 new voters and raise North Omaha's turnout percentage to 60 and possibly even 70% by 2024's primary and general elections, respectively. But with dedication, grit, and a whole lot of community work, advocates say they are hopeful it can happen. So I'll pose that to the floor. Do y'all think this is something that can be achieved? Again, 15,000 new voters by 2024 and 70% turnout, which is double what we've been getting, maybe even triple.
That seems like a pretty, great having high aspiration goal numbers, but that seems pretty high. Seeing as we've been at 15-20% at most, 15-18% or something like that turnout. Yeah. So I can't see hitting 70 by next year, but I do see us gliding up in that direction in a lot of ways. There's a lot of efforts out here for things happening on that tip. So I do see some progress, definitely some progress. This turnout is really encouraging. I know that Preston Love has been having some meetings and stuff before to try to get these things happening. So the turnout is encouraging. People are starting to understand. Hopefully, our efforts to really help civically, just with gain knowledge on some of these things is helping. And I know there's a lot of conversations going on in and out and beyond the shows that are that people are talking about these things. So even out and about when I'm talking to folks, that's why I learned about how many black folks voted for Trump. I didn't realize there were so many out there. We talk about that, but what are these numbers reflecting really? Like they're reflecting the turnout, the vote, and if you say 15 or 18% of the people who are registered are voting, then you got to ask the next question: who they voting for?
It's a good point. It's a good point.
If half them people and more than half them people are voting for Trump or something like that, then there's even more work to do.
Yeah,
according to what needs to happen out here. So good efforts, and I think that once they figure out how to reach young folks with the message, that's really when things are going to turn the corner. So I hope that happens. But yeah, I'm encouraged that it's going in the right direction. It's not going backwards. What say you in the chat chimers section? Let us know. What do you think about those facts and figures? What do you think about voter turnout? You having discussions with your kids? You having discussions with your friends? What are they saying? Are you seeing more awareness about what goes on in the process here and what place we play in it? Do you feel encouraged about whether or not we're going to have better turnouts coming up? How you feel? Let us know.
Yeah, yeah, and I do think it's possible. You just got to find the right way, because there's people out there that aren't being engaged. Just period. You know what I mean? There's people out there. I do think that there are 15,000 voters out there that have not been activated. It's just about how do you approach them? How do you get their attention? How do you bring them in? I do think it's possible. You just got to find the way. And can that be done? Can that be figured out in a year? I don't know. But definitely is worth reaching, worth pursuing. And like you said, even with the percentages being at 15 percent, even if you don't reach 70, if you get to 30, if you get to 40, if you are able to double those numbers, that's a win in my book. That's a step in the right direction. And we've seen, with the Obama election, we've seen with the Biden election, some of the turnout, the blue dot, if you will. We got the manpower. We can do it. And people will show up and show out for the things that matter. I mean, we still got the Obama building right there on 24th. You know what I mean? Like, the community will get around some things if they see that it impacts them. So
What trips me out too is the number of, like I said, the number of folks. Everybody just assumes black folks in particular are going to be voting Democrat, but that's just not the case. Uh,
mhm.
there's a lot of them that vote Republican. So it seems to me that like Republican efforts to repress votes are shooting themselves in the foot. They don't even know how many black folks is out here voting for Republican. Like, why would you, you know what I'm saying? Like, why don't you, once you stop all the repression of the voting and let everybody just do what they're going to do and worry about your policies matching what the people want and just worry about that part. You know what I'm saying?
it,
Instead of trying to juke the game all the time.
it's funny you say that, man. Because especially here in the South, I hear a lot a lot of brothers and sisters not not scared or not ashamed to um voice their support of Trump. There's a lot of brothers and sisters down here that are open about voting Republican, and it usually comes down to the bottom line. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
Republicans help get us money. Like, that's what they say. So I do find that interesting. And your point of us having 15% voter turnout, you don't take in consideration that half of that might go towards Republicans. So
More than half, most likely.
you think so?
I feel like there's a reason why this is a red state, and it's not just because of the surrounding areas. Omaha is densely populated, and a lot of folks are voting red, and a lot of ones are, and some of them being quiet about it because they're in communities where they're just like where they would get shouted down for it.
I
But they
can
but they do
uh
it.
I can agree. I can think of a handful of examples just off the top of my head of people in my immediate, close circle that fit that category.
Yeah,
So,
there's a couple reasons, man. It has to do with, like you said, bottom line, who's getting us money.
mhm.
It also has to do with messages getting twisted up about what certain people are doing. It's also disillusionment because it's always the best of the best of two evils or whatever, however the phrase goes. But ain't nobody whole seriously excited about Biden when it came up either. They weren't very excited about it.
Mhm.
Another old white man saying what's up, just because Democrat didn't really mean nothing to a whole lot of people. And then it's also the church situation too. It's also, Republicans are trying to make them, put themselves on the side of the church when it comes to what their policies and stuff are about. So if you don't believe in abortion, if you don't, you know what I'm saying, if there's a
Mhm.
bunch of stuff that aligns with your church upbringing, then you might have to go with that if you go with it. So there's a lot going on, man.
And when you put it in that perspective, I guess it's a little less surprising or a little less interesting that people down here in the South, regardless of race or background, that do lean that way, because again, this is the Bible Belt. You know what I mean? Like, this is definitely the Bible Belt. Southern Christian values hold strong still down here in the South. So that's very interesting. That's a good point.
Yeah.
But there's another point I want to make about the Black Political Summit that I find interesting, and I think we should also focus on as Sister Kimber Snipe comes in. So if you can speak to this a little more, we'll definitely love to hear from you as far as the Black Political Summit and the form, the actual process that they used. Again, according to the Omaha World Herald, instead of a traditional conference with panels and speeches and people coming up talking about what they do, this, that, and the third, Saturday's 4-hour event largely consisted of group brainstorming sessions. Attendees were split into 5 groups: community members, young professionals, Black church leaders, grassroots organizers, and other communities of color like Hispanic and refugee populations. These groups spent an hour participating in lively discussions, identifying what they see as barriers to political involvement in North Omaha, and brainstorming what they can do to increase turnout in the upcoming election. So again, man, that's what we need more of. We need more brainstorming and action steps. We need more action. We need more action movement. So definitely, big shout out to Kimber. She said she led one of the sessions. So yeah, if you can give some insight, or if you want to say some things for Wednesday, just let us know.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you on how that whole thing went. I saw some of your posts. Seemed like you was excited about how it went down. So appreciate
Man,
that. I'll jump into the chat real quick. Ghost listener says, "When have we ever talked 15,000 in Omaha?" Do you remember? Because that sounds like a new number to me too. I'm not sure if we had before. Christy Norris says, because they're white supremacists. When I'm talking about how come, why would Republicans want to kill the vote when they have an opportunity to get a whole bunch more votes in places that they don't think? She says because they're white supremacists. Ghost listener says, are they going to register repubs too since they're nonpartisan? That's a good question. I don't know. That's a good question, man. All these are good questions about all these things. Like I said, my eyes have been open just this year on a lot of this too. I think everybody just kind of really assumed at one point that if you black, you voting Republican. I mean, you're voting Democrat. That's just not necessarily the case, man. You know what I'm saying? Um, Christy Norris says, Republicans try to get us money only if we are in the 1%. When Trump does stuff like throws out a stimulus check every once in a while, sometimes that looks like they're getting us money. But you're right. In the end, it's everything is really about making the rich folks richer. And if you're what kills me about it is that we talk about this all the time, but then we go out and go to work so that we can get some money too. So it's like, we got to think about that. Like we have a business and we right now are trying to figure out we've been in a tax hole this whole weekend.
Man, man.
And what's standing out is that we need to restructure the business so we don't have to pay so many taxes in order to be able to run this business. And that's just a little teeny baby a step of what these corporations and stuff are doing.
Oh man.
So you know what I'm saying? So like so you gotta so it's funny how you think about uh well, I'm glad these things are in place in case we get to this level with the business where, I'm glad some of these things are in place, but at the same time, it's just the system that we're in. Like the system is always going to be where lower end workers are getting repressed so that other people can make money. And so it's like, can you even will you ever be able to separate democracy from like capitalism? Is that just like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if there was a different system besides capitalism, would democracy even work in this country? Those are starting to get into some questions and stuff I just can't answer. But if you're trying to do anything in this country, then it's like some of these things call themselves independent because of that. Because there's some things that Republicans have put in place because of the system that we're in of capitalism. That means that if I want to help me and my family, this is what I got to go do too. So it's deep, man. It's like the culmination of what we talk about, the ballot of the bullet, and then also follow the money.
Yeah.
It's like,
Kind of wrapped up.
yeah, and now here we are. Teamwork makes the dream work. So we got to put, in this season, teamwork makes the dream work, which is us putting our collective knowledge together in order for us to upbuild our situation. And some of that is possible through certain things. You hear William King talk about it all the time. He's like, Democrats didn't help me get this radio station. Republicans went and got money for me to get
I
this
was gonna
radio
mention
station.
that.
Yeah. So yeah. Jumping back in the chat real quick. Christy says yes, they do register any party. To that question, what was the question about? Whether if Republicans, let's see, what was
Says,
the
are
question?
they going to register repubs too since they are nonpartisan?
Nonpartisan, right? She says yes, yes, they do register any party.
I said of those 15,000 people that they registered to vote, are some of them going to be Republican? And to your point, yes, in that number, we do have to ask, of all these people registered, who's Republican, who's Democrat, who's independent. And yeah, that's a good point. Is it's not enough to just get people registered to vote, but we have to organize on like what do we want to see, who do we want to represent us as a community, not just vote.
And I think Democrats in particular sometimes are too soft on that message. They just says, it doesn't matter who you vote for, just vote. And I'm a little bit like, nah, don't just
come to death row.
Yeah, you gotta you gotta also you can't just don't just go vote. Like I'll never forget this friend of mine one time, this little white girl, she was like, I saw bacon on the ballot and I like bacon, so I just said, okay, well, I'll just go ahead and vote. And I think there's a whole lot of folks out there doing there's a lot of folks out there that are doing. So yeah,
Yeah, I guess it's almost like, is it do we want just a bunch of people voting, or do we want informed voters voting, consciously, like people like, hey, I checked off the box, I voted, there you go. But it's like,
yeah.
did you put in research? Did you think about it? Was there a strategy, or did you just
Did you have a
vote because you
conversation?
think you're supposed to vote?
Right. Did you have a conversation about it, or did you hear about the candidate from Fox News, or did you, like
Right.
where are you at with all of it? Back in the chat, Kimber Snipe says Deidre and Cliff took us to church though, straight up. They kept it all the way 100. Ooh, I can't wait to
There
hear
you
about
go.
this.
There you go.
Stuart D. Knight, author, says one thing many don't recognize is that the cost of living decreases under a Republican administration.
I
Right.
hear that a lot.
Stewart, he also says Democrats usually raise the taxes of the wealthy and middle income, and the uber wealthy fight back by raising the cost of living. Interesting.
Which
These kind of dynamics are funny.
when you put it like that, like that's kind of, I guess, where that whole Republic, like you see those Republican attack ads during the political season, the campaign season, is like they're costing taxpayers all this money, and Democrats are spending all this money. It's interesting. It's
It
interesting.
is. Christy Nurse says a lot of folks feel some type of way claiming either party at the moment. Very true. I often talk about this a lot too. Democrat. I grew up in California where three strikes laws was got came in the Clinton administration, and I got friends and family members that are serving life over on three strikes. So so I didn't, and that was also around the time Hillary was calling young black kids super predators and everything else. Never had I always felt Kamala Harris too was a Democrat in cahoots with the police in L.A. Like there's a whole lot of stuff with the Democrats that we've always been calling ourselves independents because of the fact that we not don't believe in this two-party system in the first place. So
Man,
yeah, you're not just needing to be informed, because they also are getting informed, but they're getting informed by either party. And being informed is even beyond the two parties if you're really trying to be informed. But then again, what do you do? What do you do if you got, if you only got two choices and you don't believe in either one of them? You got to pick one of the lesser evils. All that. Christy North says a lot of. Stuart D. Knight, author, says hence why a carton of eggs and a gallon of milk might cost better than $12. Could be.
yeah, man.
Winston gives us a good morning. Appreciate that. Kimmer Snipe says my son registered as an independent. Right. That's where I'm at. Ghost Listeners 402, take informed over more. Yep. That woman says eggs are about to come back down this spring. They're expensive because an illness wiped out a bunch of chickens. It's not political.
I did hear about that.
It that did happen, but it's also political. It's both. That happened, and so they made adjustments with the they made adjustments so that A lot of these price hikes have to do with the way that capitalism works, and capitalism works the way it works because of our political system. So there's a lot to that. But and that's kind of what, and that's the problem. That's why Biden can come in and say, I'm going to decrease gas costs. How do you come in and and as a politician decrease gas costs if gas is a direct result of the market? It's because there's some political strings behind the scenes there that you can be pulling to make things be what they need to be, including having companies quit doing stuff like holding supplies back so that they can raise prices on what's out there, creating laws and things like that for that, or else it'd just be crazy. So that's what, to me, that's what Democrats are talking about all the time, is these ways they got to keep these checks and balances in, because corporations and businesses will just go crazy with stuff if there's no checks and balances for them. But on the other side, what they want is free market. They want to be able to do anything they want to do. They fight for that. Ghost just says, how are they going to maintain this energy? It's a good question. Kimber Snipe says, great question, Ghost. I'm asking that question myself, because I'm actually going to debrief with my organization team on that same question. So that's what's up. Yeah, team. Yep. She says, we have a hard time with maintaining momentum. You're talking about Democrats, right?
Or just organizers, because she says she left the event feeling very energized, which she says doesn't happen often. So how do you keep that?
There you go. Amy Huffless gives us a good morning. She says, I just keep hearing we need better candidates to bring everyone together without scandal. Impossible. I don't think it's possible. And I think that they need to get off the two-party system first of all, in order to even bring the next whoever that person is. If independents ever get to where it get to that status, then maybe they might bring a candidate that was more balanced. I'm not sure. I think it's going to always be lesser of two evils for a long time. That woman says Reagan destabilized Central America, and crack was during his administration, as well as highest homeless rate. Evil in both sides. Oh, good morning. Good morning. Yeah.
I mean, I think that's why most people don't vote, because they see that. Like,
yeah,
but at the same time, what do you do? What do you do?
Stacey
Jean just let the game go?
Right. Stacey Jean says, most people don't believe in the two-party system. How can they adequately represent for over 300 million people? Right. Ghost Sister said Bacon showcasing North Omaha over the weekend. Yeah, he's always around here. Kimber Snipe says we need a lot, including better candidates. She also says they can say what they want to about Don Bacon, but he has someone everywhere if he can't be there himself. Got it. And no, I never voted for Bacon. Yeah, he does. And I've talked to a lot of, especially older black folks, that really are like, well, at least he shows up out here, because they've lived a life where they've never had any representation come to North Omaha to talk to them. So Don Bacon's here all the time, or like Kimber said, he sends somebody for him, so that he can keep in touch with the black community. And I know that he gets a lot of votes in the black community because he's out here when nobody else is. He's called us several times, almost like the secretary will be like, Don Bacon says that he wants you to give him a call back and be on the show again. We've called you about this before. as if we're supposed, you know what I'm saying? I'm always politely going, we've had Don Bacon on the show before. If we find it necessary and find a slot, then we'll call you back and we'll ask him on the show. That's how this works. And they get very upset about that. Like he got his team pushing to get on these shows. Pushing, you don't understand. So anyway, off of that, the chat is going off. I really appreciate
chat is going on.
Really appreciate that. Kimber says, but this political summit was a try, and I support him on it. You talking about
Press and Love? You kind of Ghost listener said Press is not best at communicating after events, and then Kimber says, I agree. He's not the greatest with communication. I will also say that he's a 2-person team, and he's old. Let's just keep it real. He's been in the fight for a while. It's time for him to get some support.
Right, he's an elder. He doesn't have to be out here in the streets, doing a whole bunch of stuff. He can give us the advice and let the younger folks get down. Marianne Williams says capitalism, socialism, communism, they're all bad in the oligarchy system, in the
Mm.
oligarchical system for sure.
Mhm.
Um,
Man.
Cliff talked a lot about scandal this weekend. He also talked about how we always want to run from conflict, but we need to lean into it.
Hmm.
And who's the we? Are you talking about Democrats again? Who's the we that you're talking about?
Or black people or
Yeah. I like what that woman's saying here. I feel Bacon just understands optics. He is representation at popular events, so it can be said he was there, but ask him about anything of substance.
there you go. Photo
Couple
op.
couple times he's been on Mind and Soul on our morning show when we were over at Mind and Soul. Didn't feel like we was having really. There wasn't any. It's definitely not the kind of interviews that we have now. It was kind of just real superficial, stay on the surface type of stuff.
Prepared statements and answers, real polished.
Yeah. Kimber Snipes says, I don't disagree that woman. The problem is that people vote off of optics, uninformed, so they vote off of what it looks like. Well,
Mhm.
who's telling them something? What the news bite said and all that.
I see bacon. I like bacon. I vote bacon.
Bacon's good. Yeah, dude. Well, she was making a point that she went in there and didn't know who was running. She's just uninformed, so she made a
Mhm,
guess,
mhm.
and she
Which
made a guess.
that can
She
be
she was
damage.
she was saying that she made a guess. That's what she said. She was like, I didn't know who was running. I saw bacon. I like bacon, so I went ahead and did that. So that's what's going on. Let's see. Rick Fulton in the house. What's going on? Good morning. Says, has anybody ever been to the Union for Contemporary Art on 24th Street? Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, a spot.
That place is the spot. I want to meet Bridget McQueen. We can make that happen. Bridget is a friend of mine, and is cool. It's bringing some really cool stuff to 24th and Lake. Despite what some people say, but if you're into art, then you realize like what kind of real resource that is for sure. Ghost Listener 402 says, if people seen as leader, why small teams tells me people like movement, not leader. Hmm. People like movement, not leader. Small teams. Yeah, clarify that a little bit, but I kind of feel like I know what you're trying to say there. And yeah, I kind of agree that we have a little bit of a leadership situation out here. There's not we who's the leaders? It's
I
definitely more
mean,
about movement these days.
that's always the question when you hear, such and such talk to black community leaders in Northern. Like, who did you talk to?
Right.
Um, you know, that's always a question. So that's very interesting that
Yep. Yep.
said. But man, the chat is going off. I appreciate y'all.
Really do. William King, we boss him with the king in the house. He says Democrats do not spend any money towards their campaigns. Democrats raise a little bit. They don't raise nearly as much as Republicans raise for sure.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, because Republicans, like you said, Republicans usually are for the corporations, are for helping the corporations who have deeper pockets, and can make bigger donations. And Democrats are usually trying to create social programs and do things for the people that usually don't generate a lot of money. They usually cost a lot of money. Um, and the people that they're supporting don't have a lot of money to support them, which is kind of the nature of the thing. Which is why you need more organizing and people power and things like that.
yeah.
But that's the nature of it.
Grassroots. Rick Fulton says the proposed plaza looks nice for 24th Street. We'll definitely come back and talk about that because there's some money that just got dropped for the beautification of 24th. We'll talk about. Uh, people in North Omaha. Okay,
Okay.
that's her. Terry Crawford says, "Good morning, First Sky fam. Good morning to you." Desiree Dehere ran for governor in Iowa and made a good run. Her story is about the numbers. The summit was the blueprint. We have to keep up the momentum.
Okay. Thank you, Terry Crawford.
Appreciate that.
Deidre DeJure, I think she was meant to type.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, got it. For Ghost Sister 402, North Omaha leaders complain about doing things. And again, who are
Hmm.
the North Omaha leaders?
Yeah.
Is one of my questions. William King says Democrats have money. They just gave Ukrainians billions of dollars. Yeah. Democrats and Republicans gave Ukraine billions of
Yeah,
dollars.
I don't think that was like Democratic money. That was taxpayer dollars that Democrats decided had control of.
Right.
But yeah.
One more, and then we're going to take a quick break here. Ghost Listener 402 says, by themselves, how come nobody joins their teams to help, or are they not including people themselves?
I get okay. I get like, why are the teams so small?
Yeah,
Again, kind of responding to.
Democratic teams, right?
Well, I
Well,
think it's responding to Brother Preston Love Jr. specifically having like Precious or Kimra said.
yeah. I hear that. I hear that. Yeah, we'll definitely continue that. I like the fact that you guys are continuing this conversation chat going off. Good conversation on this. 7:50 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, let's take a quick break and we'll come back and jump into some other subjects as well while we wait on our special guest to come in. So stay tuned. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, all of you chat chimers, all of you ghost listeners, stay tuned. Yeah. We'll be right back, y'all. Welcome back. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, chat chimers, ghost listeners. It's going down.
Hey.
Amy Huffless in the chat is calling them out. She says, because people talk a whole lot and have opinions, but don't show up in equal measure to do the work. And
Hey.
she can say that because she's boots on the ground, along with Kimmer Snipes, along with Medicine Song. I already see her out there. There's people that are really boots to the roots out there, putting in a lot of work and getting down with it. And I agree. There's a lot of discussion, a lot of talk, but not a whole lot of action all the time. And hopefully, First Sky Omaha can be part of some of this action that's happening on this season as well, like moving into those realms. And as soon as we can get help get more organized with some things too, then just try to grow these groups, man, and try to get behind things, but not just necessarily like get behind candidates or get behind a certain party, but really kind of get behind getting people to take action on their situation. Whatever that action is and whatever that situation is, and just become, we starting with become informed, and let's talk. And you become informed by not just reading something, but also discussing it, talking it through, hearing from experts, everything else that you can do to really know a subject. And after we do that, then it's like, well, now that you know something, you take action on it. That's just the natural thing, the natural move. Kimmer Snipes is second in that emotion for sure. Stuart D. Knight, author, says most democratic policy initiatives have consumption of products at its base, especially with gender and sexual politics. Interesting.
Yep,
Tell me what you mean by that.
A little further down, he also said the corporations actually control both parties, Republican for their capital gain, Democrats for their consumption gain. Again, talking about, that's interesting. That's interesting. And again, Brother Knight, he got some books down at Afro-American Bookstore. You go ahead and check them out.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. We have to get into that for sure. That's what's up, man. Really appreciate everybody with their comments, and keep on continuing to talk to each other for sure on these subjects and figure out what we need and how we need to roll with it. In the meantime, buddy, what else we got on the agenda today? 7:54 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, which we don't, but here it is. Sometimes Got to look
Only
at the
time that matters is now.
right. Once upon a time called now. It's
Yeah,
going down.
man. Yeah, man. So yeah, let's keep it moving in this moment right here, right now. Continue the conversation as we have throughout the seasons. Again, we went from Ballad of the Bullet, and now to Following the Money, which we'll do in a second. But now we're still looking at these legislative sessions. Again, it's not just one to vote. Once you go out to vote, once you get the senators and the elected officials that you hope to get in place, we have to then support them. You can't just vote them in and expect them to do all the work. So big shout out to everybody that showed up in support of LB 18, who was proposed by someone I consider a leader in some forms and fashions in the community, State Senator Justin Wayne, who led this effort for LB 18. Again, he proposed the bill, and if you're not familiar, again, LB 18 is a measure that will create an opportunity for retrial based on newly discovered evidence, which is the case in the case of Ernest Jackson, who has been in prison for more than 22 years for killing someone, for a killing someone else confessed to, and that confession was found to be in self-defense. So again, this person has served 22 years for a crime that was not a crime, and based on that evidence, this person has still been in jail, and the court has completely ignored all of that evidence, as if it didn't happen. So again, this is a bill to support that. This is not a sprint, it's a marathon, according to Tracy Jackson, who's actually Ernest's wife. She said after the Judiciary Committee on Thursday, saying, either way, my husband's coming home eventually. Again, more than a dozen supporters. So big shout out to everybody that came out, told the Judiciary Committee that Wayne's bill would help Jackson specifically, but also any other inmate who may be in a similar situation. Tessa Dominguez, for example, told the committee that one person's 2021 warning that Wayne's legislation then would open up the floodgate to mass prison releases was untrue, though it may be hard to tell. She said how many people were improperly sentenced. Wayne said all defendants have a Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination, which Cooper Ryder used, so he would not have to testify in Jackson's initial trial, which is why, again, Cooper Ryder was the person who actually admitted to the killing, and that's why he did not testify and therefore get Ernest free in the initial trial. The state Supreme Court ruled Cooper Ryder's later confession was newly available and not newly discovered. Again, getting into a whole game of semantics, emphasis on the word game. So a new trial for Jackson was not warranted. But again, this bill addresses that specific thing. I would like to also take this time to remind you that the state of Nebraska does have an overcrowding emergency, as far as, again, the state's prison system being the second most overcrowded in the country behind only Alabama. So again, this could possibly, it can open the floodgate if they quote unquote of getting people out of prison. But the caveat is this is newly discovered evidence. This is a retrial. So most likely they're not supposed to be in prison to begin with. So again, big shout out to those supporting this, and big shout out to Brother Senator Justin Wayne. Put some respect on his name.
Yep, that's all that needs to be said about that. Let's continue to help those that are going out there doing that. I know I saw a call for people to come up. I'll just take this time to remind folks that what we're trying to organize now is trips up to the legislature, because what they're saying is that having bodies in the room there and people testifying helps. And that's how you can help the senators do what's happening. So you believe in that bill, you believe in earnest freedom, you believe in that, then take an afternoon and go up when those bills are being talked about, and back them, back the senators. There's a plethora of bills, 800 of them. We only talk about a handful, 8 to 10 of them, that we feel like kind of directly affect what's going on with us in our neighborhoods. But even with just those, if you are keeping track of when they're going to discuss them, and you want to go up and support the senators when they're trying to push for them, then that seems to be best bet. You can also write letters and send some things in as well if you can't make it physically. But what we're hearing is physically being there is the real the biggest help, the biggest pull, biggest draw.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so that's kind of what's up. Kimra in the chat is talking about the whole reason for this summit was because of the lack of success we have had. And she's definitely talking about, they're still in the chat kind of talking about participation. And Kimber says something that I am fully behind as well. She says, I'm about getting behind issues. And that's where I'm at. That's why this legislative stuff is so interesting right now to me. It's not about the candidates. It's not about who's Republican, who's Democrat. It's not about any of that. To me, it's about these bills
Policy,
that you're right. The policy that affects our lives directly.
not the
They're making
politics.
they're making decisions about our right policy, not politics. They're making decisions about our lives directly all the time with the passing and the not passing of certain bills. And if there's any way that you can lean on that and help that situation out to be able to speak for what it is that you need, our senators are there and we're their constituents, and they want to they're listening to us to tell them how to move, how to vote, how to go for it. Rick Fulton says, I like McKinney's bill for an independent oversight for Omaha police. There you
Yeah,
go.
man. That Brady
We like
Giglia list.
we like it too. That's one of them 8 to 10s that we're looking at right there. We're looking at one of that kind of thing. So when McKinney's up speaking about it, we got to go up to the Capitol and be there physically to support him and speak on that and speak about why we like that bill. All that supposedly helps the process. And if you're going to make any kind of difference, I mean, this to me is turning out to be just important as the vote.
Yeah, it's the whole civic process. Like, it's a process, and we all have to be involved at just about every step, in whatever way we can. And there are ways that we can all be involved. So and if you care, insert yourself into it. As Kimmer says, there are seats open. So definitely bring your questions to the table. And speaking of that, thank you, Brother Rick Fulton, for reminding us again. This Wednesday, I believe, will be your opportunity to go up and speak on specifically on that bill from Senator McKinney, that will possibly bring the Brady Giglia list to Nebraska. Again, if you don't know, the Brady Giglia list is a list. Basically, it's a report card. It's a profile of our officers and their history of violence, if they've been disciplined in the past, and other agencies that follows them. That good old record that everybody has. If you're expelled, it goes on your quote unquote record. Well, now if we have that Brady Giglia list, police will have a record that we can see and know of their character.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Wednesday, I believe, is the day to go down and support that. So if we can go ahead and support our brother McKinney, please do so. But if you are going to do that, do remember that, again, some of these take several hours. So block off. You can't just go down for lunch break and come back. This is, might be an all day thing. And then also there are over 800 bills. So please be strategic. Please be sure of the ones that you want to support. You can't support multiple at the same time, and there are multiple bills being discussed and going through committees at the same time. So again, come with a plan and be prepared.
There you go. 8:03. You're now in the second hour of First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, all of you chat chimers, all of you ghost listeners. I'm definitely going to start putting together some graphics of some of the bills that we've been looking at and following, and put some dates to it and all that so we can help. Kimmer Snipes is in the chat, really trying to recruit. We really need that. For me personally, I have to, first of all, work gets in the way of a lot, and I think we're all out here hustling and got a couple jobs maybe, and really trying to find the time within the thing. But there's some things that I can move around. I got to kind of make it a game for myself though. It's like a little game in my life where I'm like finding where to buy out the time, trading time here and there. You know what I'm saying? Like if I I can say I'll work all day at the job and I'll come back and I need I need a couple hours to decompress. Well, I can decompress in a meeting sometimes. Sometimes. But if I take my decompression time in that meeting, then I'm going to take a couple hours the next morning or something. I'm going to trade it here. I make it a game where I'm going to trade it here, trade it there. I'm getting a little better at it, at a time, and try to make some more of these things. But the other way that I'm trying to help is through this platform. First Sky Omaha is expanding, and we're bringing on volunteers. We're bringing on people. We're trying to raise funds in order to hire folks in order to expand this. And we're also doing stuff like teaming up with organizations like the Documenters Program, and helping the documenters get rolling, and supporting that effort means that they're going to have boots on the roofs, people sitting in those meetings taking notes and bringing back some reports that we can talk about here on the show. So that's another way that we're trying to make some kind of moves happen too. You need the communication base as well, and hopefully that's what we are leading to in trying to get to it. So follow the lead of Kimra Snipes, put some respect on her
Yeah.
name. Amy Hutflis, put some respect on her name. The folks that are out here putting boots to ground and doing the work, doing the actual out physical work. We appreciate that very much. Christy North says, I'm glad I'm going Wednesday to testify on several. So there you
Hey.
go. There's another one. Christy North, put some respect on her name. She's going out to testify, not just show up in body, but also show up in spirit and in communication and go testify. So that's what's up. Ghost Listener 402 said, I agree with Paul. Need to make sure to give 100% before committing. To give 100% before committing. Um. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like I said, for me, I have to try to figure out how to buy at the time. You work a couple full time jobs, and
Mm-hmm.
and work your side hustle so you can do what you got to do. Still got family responsibilities and everything else, and you also got a responsibility to yourself to not wear yourself out with stuff. But if I'm playing the game, I know I can wiggle some room out to go support this or go do that, or figure out how to support it, or throw some gas money to somebody who's going up to support them
Mm-hmm.
going. There's stuff that we can do. That's
And
all I'm saying.
speaking of that, I kind of had an idea or a thought as far as like, what's the role neighborhood associations can play in this? Like, can we use neighborhood associations? Maybe send a representative from a neighborhood, each neighborhood association, to represent the people in that association, and those be the ones, or select somebody amongst the people to go and testify and represent the people. As far as the testimony, like the elected officials representing the people and pushing the bill that the people care about, as far as this Ernest Jackson bill. You know what I mean? But
Right.
who's representing the people in support of that bill? You know what I mean? Like, there has to be that. It'd be interesting. I'm Cameron. Let me know what you think about that idea as far as using those in neighborhood associations to be that kind of representative, and maybe send them people who do want to comment, send their comment to that person, or.
Well, first of all, I think that all the people that want to be represented still can. If we're looking at going up ourselves, if we can't go because of work, then we can write letters
Mm-hmm.
in support of. But yeah, I like that as a secondary step too. You do that first, and you also are part of this neighborhood association that also has a representative and goes up. There's a few things that definitely can be done, but I think on the grassroots level, the first part is for us to understand the issues and what's going on. The second part is
Definitely.
for us to do the barest minimum, which is to write a letter. The third part is to do a little bit extra than the barest minimum, which is to go up and testify. And then the fourth part of it is for us to figure out what kind of organizations we can work with within the community that can help on a bigger scale and have some representation go up and so on and so forth. So I think that Kimmer Snipes says communication is hard ghost. Hence the reason some people make six figures doing it. Okay, yeah. Communication is communications most definitely is an issue there. It's a tough one. It's a tough one. When you think about it, chat chimers, ghost listeners, think about this for a second. What we're doing right here with First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
Thank you, Paul. In the morning.
Hey, what we're doing right here is actually having town hall, 2-hour town hall meetings 3 times a week.
Yeah.
And what we're trying to do this season is to create action items out of those discussions. So when you think about it like that, that's a lot. And and if we can get more of that, because there's a lot more discussions happening, but like Amy Huffles was saying, a lot of people talking, a lot of people with a lot of opinions, not a whole lot of people making actual moves. Well, let's figure out how we can organize actual moves as well. So that's what I'm saying. We're using our platform as a business in order to raise funds, hire folks that can come and do some of the things that we're working on right now. Have to do with us gathering information and providing our own information on our new website. So there'll be a place where you can go see First Sky Omaha news that we generate, not just aggregate and talk about, but also generate. So part of that is definitely having people on deck that can come and do all that. One of the things they're going to do is summarize these shows. So
Mhm.
they'll listen to this, they'll look at the comments, and they'll be able to go up and testify and say, chat chimers, we have 30 or 40 people saying this is what we want to see and this is what we want to do, and they'll be able to summarize those things, write those things out officially, put them on the website, take them in as reports, and so on. So we're just trying to look within our own personal situations here to on how to do more, and that's what I'm just suggesting everybody do. Do what you can do. If you can roll out, then roll out. If you can't, then figure out ways to make your presence known on that too. So
Mhm. And we
there you
just
go.
trying to bring the information, and I like what you said, Paul, as far as laying out those steps, and that first step being just getting informed on the issues, being informed on what the issues are.
Yeah.
And I just like your concept, like, because you created First Sky, you came up with the term First Sky, and what you said it was. I always find that interesting as far as us coming. Do you want to kind of explain
Yeah,
that?
I
I don't want to slaughter it, but
can.
it's that first step. You know what I mean? This experience, what we're doing right now, is the first step. And as you said, we're creating action steps to push it beyond that. But
Yeah.
what is First Sky?
Yeah, first sky is where your head's at. First sky means that you got your feet on the ground, and the first and you're standing up and you're raising upwards. The first place that your head is at is the first sky, and that happens to be the place where you can look everybody else in the eye, because that's all of our first skies. So to me, it starts with the conversation, the talking, the communication, the understanding, and from being on feet on the ground, being boots to the roots, and then you travel that information up to your head where you can make sense of it, and then after your head gets it, you're supposed to be taking a step. You're supposed to be making some movement happen. So what we're trying to do here is exactly that. We're trying to have real talk, real time, look everybody in the eye, have some real discussions about what's going on, have some real understanding, some real togetherness, while we're all standing here in on the block. And then after we have that, then we start to make a plan. Then we start to move. And that's what this is supposed to be all about.
There you
So
go.
so we're just think about here when I what I really am trying to do with this is make us be like the minister of communication, like how Black Panthers used to have that.
Man, shout out to Professor Griff. Shout out to Professor Griff. All right. All right.
Yeah. And like I said, there's a couple of steps to that. It's not just Kimra is my hero because Kimra be digging into information hard. She's like me. I go around talking about all the time. I was just talking to a friend last night who we got a couple people in our circle that got some degrees, and they be trying to hold it over our heads all the time and be like, well, I got my associates from Metropolitan Community College, but I study every day. So don't you ain't gonna outstudy me just because you got a
Mm-hmm.
degree. And we were laughing about it, and I was thinking to myself, Kimber's my hero on this too, man. Me and her be digging in a different kind of way, in a way that we had to come up with on our own to understand the stuff and figure it out. And sometimes that makes you understand it even better than other people can. So number one is digging into it, but number two to me is like discussing it with somebody who's also dug into it, and getting the perspectives from everybody, from the people that have the degrees and the people that don't, and the people that understand it a different way, and the people that are older and have experience in the thing, and you talk to all them people, then you're understanding the issue. This thing is for me to get it. This whole thing we're doing is for us to be students and understand more. I
There
like
you go.
Kimra was saying right here. Step one is choosing the issue. Step two, developing strategies. Step three is discussing your tactics. Step four is when you start having your meetings and accountability sessions.
There you go.
There you go. I mean, there you go. We got stuff is just laid out. Stuff is laid out. I
So
appreciate that.
let's keep moving.
And I'll get
Let's
off
keep
of my
moving.
soapbox now. So moving on.
Yeah, man. First guy, this is what we're here to do. So we definitely appreciate everyone embarking and adding to this conversation and this experience. And let's spread it out. Let's not let it stop here. And I think that's kind of what this is all about. As far as what we're talking about was being discussed in the chat, is us coming together and letting that teamwork make the dream work, man.
Apparently they discussed that during the summit. Kimmer said we had those same conversations in our breakout yesterday around grassroots organizing piece of this. So we're on the right track. They're also talking about this as well. Just play neighborhood associations are prime representatives of the people. I would really like to work with neighborhood associations more,
Mm-hmm.
even with our communication, what it is we're doing. I feel like those are the headquarters. We need to invest in our neighborhood associations and really develop them. Kimmer
Yeah, man.
says exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I can see the role that they could be playing. It's almost like another branch of government, and if you want to look at it,
yeah,
at the very grassroots level,
yeah.
So, but man, 9:15 or 8:15, I guess, depending on where you are, it might be 5:15 where you are. We definitely, whatever time it is, we appreciate you for tuning in with us here on First Sky Omaha in the morning, second hour going. What you want to jump into the next article? You want to keep it going?
Let's jump into the next article. Unfortunately, we haven't heard anything from Karlha, so she might not make it today. So we apologize for that. We'll make sure that she gets on another time. But yeah, let's move into it because there's definitely a few more things to discuss while we have the chat chimers who are really in here chiming up
Man,
today. Love to discuss these things with you. So let's go ahead and get to the next one.
definitely. Continuing to look at what's going on in Lincoln. We're pivoting to the fight for schools, man. Again, Governor Jim Pillen hit the ground running with $1 billion proposed, $1 billion budget, excuse me, proposed for the state schools, saying it would cause a significant and meaningful cuts to its budget, talking about schools finance and property tax reduction plan as a part of that budget. During a special meeting on Tuesday, the Omaha Public Schools Board approved a legislative report that included the district's position on nearly 20 bills that are being considered by state lawmakers. Again, 20 bills specifically addressing education, which has been a hot topic in Lincoln now for over a year. I mean, years, we'll say, but we've seen some very tense moments over the last year or so. Shane Ryan, who's the chief financial officer for OPS, said the district is focusing on two separate packages related to school aid and tax reform that Pillen proposed in January. If the bills are approved, the district could lose up to $18 million in funding. While Ryan said this would cause significant damage to OPS, the district's general fund budget is $710 million for 2022 and 23. Echoing what Sister Kimra has told us as far as OPS basically being like its own city. Again, $710 million is the budget for OPS, but that could be taking a hit to the tune again of $18 million. If you think back to when we spoke to Senator Justin Wayne on Friday, he kind of clarified some of that as well. Again, you see $1 billion proposed for education in the state of Nebraska, and you think that might be good. But again, as Senator Wayne explained, the way that it will actually work and come to manifestation is some of that money will be taken away from OPS, as we see, and being sent out to schools in West Nebraska and possibly even private schools or charter system being set up in the state. So again, there's definitely things to look out for. Also, when you take in consideration, although OPS has a $710 million budget, there's still been shortfalls and there's still been issues when we talk about busing. Again, the transportation system has been in shambles when it comes to OPS. Of course, a shortage of teachers, shortage of supplies, things like that. So,
Shortage of teacher pay.
man, yeah, shortage of teacher pay. So the 18 million, although when you look at 18 million versus 710, it's a drop in the bucket, but it's a meaningful drop because they need every drop that they can get. So yeah, what are our thoughts on this? So continuing the conversation versus private charter schools versus public schools. Should we be concerned?
Good question. I'm gonna leave it to the chat this time. I don't really have too many opinions about it quite yet. I'm still feel like I'm learning more and more about it because excuse me, because at first when Pillen dropped that information, we were like, okay, he's trying to really get some schools some money. Then we started hearing that maybe that a lot of that money's gonna go out to the West Side schools. So then we got a little worried about what OPS was gonna get out of this situation, and OPS now is coming back and saying they don't want that. So I'm a slightly confused. Need to not really confused, but just need some more information here on some stuff. And I'll wait and hear some more about it. If anybody else in the chat though has something to say, let us know. Really love to hear about that. and what you think on that. So yeah, buddy, do you have any thoughts on this one?
Um, yeah, I'm sorry. I went to the chat and got somebody said something completely unrelated and just completely distracted me. But
This is why I be telling Kimmer quit looking at the
yeah,
chat.
yeah. Yeah. But as far as this, yes, I do think that we should be concerned. I do think that we should be concerned. Based on Precious's, statement, regardless of, if you think we need additional education or whatever, I think it's agreeable that we do need public school. Like, if we don't have public school at all, there are going to be some students, some families that are going to fall through the cracks and be impacted negatively by this. So we do need public schools. I'm a product of public schools, so I believe in them. Um, I do support charter schools because there are, examples, especially in low income communities, where that can benefit, especially, the children who, I mean, let's be honest, there are some who are more gifted in school who do get it more, and sometimes they are held back. They aren't afforded the resources. They don't have the opportunities to go to the tech camps and to do the academic challenges and get the looks that could possibly boost up their resume for them to get into a Yale and to get into an Ivy League. So could a charter school present those opportunities? I don't know.
Should public funds go to those charter
Right,
schools?
right. Should public funds go to that? I I don't think public funds should go to it, but I do think that those options should be available. So once you get into the nuance of it, it is a different conversation. But I don't think um, money should be taken from public schools just to pay for charter schools that again can choose who they want to take and not.
Yeah. So you kind of voicing what I'm talking about. This is a bigger subject. Definitely. So yeah, let's leave it to the chat chimers. Marianne Williams in the chat says, "I believe in public schools. I believe in schools. I really believe in schools like street school and others. Yeah,
She schools doing good work.
right, different kinds of schools. She also says charter schools or public schools.
Okay.
Now, I thought they were private schools that got public money.
Would that make it a public school?
No, because they don't have to. They don't abide by the like OPS's curriculum.
Like if you live in the zip code or that area, then you have to go to that school type.
Something like that, yeah. Kimmer says, "This is a regular report. You should snag the report from the agenda. It's always attached. OPS legislative choices."
Okay.
She's also says, I know. The further west you go, the less neighborhood associations you have." So
Mm.
she's talking to Ghost Listener about neighborhood associations and being part of it. I wanna address something real quick. This is turning left from this subject real fast, but I want to go back up to something that they were talking about in the chat. Ghost Listener 402 said, "I asked about avoiding burnout when one person is leading multiple things." And Kimra is saying, that's what I need to listen to. I'm crying, but it's for real out here." And I know this about, we always say this about Kimra. I don't know if the Chad Chimers, the Ghost Listeners, know so much about Kimra, but Kimra Snipes is always, leading things and going for things, and I meet with her sometimes, and she's I don't want to say she because you're in here in the chat. I'm talking about you. You are always uh really pushing and wearing yourself out doing it because you see it needs to be done. You're passionate about it. You're trying to get people to come through and help. And it's sometimes it's hard. And I've been in that situation too. I've definitely, in all kinds of different things that I've done, from being band leaders to business leaders to doing stuff in my community. If I don't chime up, sometimes I feel like nobody's going to chime up, and so that makes me do it a lot. And in this past probably about 5 years, I've been figuring something out about that. It's about this burnout that Ghost Listener's talking about. It is rough to kind of be the only one that's going for something, pushing for something. Like I was really the only person raising funds for the Mind and Soul situation when we were over there.
Yeah.
Really pushing. And that's where I learned something about burnout that I never knew. That's where the burnout happened for me, was about 5 years ago, of really trying to understand that. Did a lot of research. Like Kimber Snipes says, we're autodidacts. We do a lot of research on subjects that we are interested in. And I got interested in burnout. And here's what I learned about burnout. If your efforts don't match your rewards,
Man,
you're going to
burnout.
get burned out. If you don't find if you don't find people just as dedicated to a thing, you're going to get burned out. But the biggest thing is the reward factor. That reward effort has to even out, and that's a really tough thing in politics, because you can do a whole lot of work in politics, and then somebody like Trump can come in and just sign his name on something and put all your efforts, jack you all up.
Man, like
So
think about
go ahead.
I'm just gonna say, think about a car. When you burn the rubber on the car ain't going nowhere. Car is sitting still or going in circles, but you're
Yeah,
not going anywhere fast when you're burning rubber in a car. So yeah,
there you go.
that's just burnout.
So it's extra important for you to have self-care. But here's what I suggest on the burnout. I suggest that when you find yourself in that position of being the person that is running everything, starting everything, and trying to get people going, stop trying to get everybody going on it. Sell one person on your mission. One person. Get one person to really understand it and to really decide that they're going to match your energy with it. When you got one co-signer, momentum starts to happen. When you can just get one person down, then you and that person are creating now a movement between the two of you that other people be attracted to, and it'll be easier to recruit them at that point.
Mm-hmm.
There's always got to be like the guy with the idea, then there's the co-signer. When the co-signer comes on, they make it real, the two of them, and then the two turns into four, and the four turned into to eight, the eight turned into 16.
Man,
So I would say, number one, realize that realize where you're at with the reward of what you're doing is probably not matching your efforts. Temper your efforts, take care of yourself, but also pull back from trying to go out and get big groups of people to do stuff. Groups got to grow. So first, get that one person that's on your team that can match your energy, and then you two effortlessly really can kind of go out and attract that. So that's what I learned about it, and I just wanted to kind of share that with you guys, because I got a lot of friends now around me that I feel like are those type of people that start a thing, try to build a family around them. People flaking and falling off, it gets discouraging. You can't do it all yourself, and then you find yourself doubling your efforts because it's only you, and you
man.
get burned out. You get burned out. So that's my thing that I learned I wanted to share, and I kind of lost track of the chat here, so I'll go back and take a look once we get into the next subject. But let me know if anybody has that same experience, if anybody understands that the way I do. I'd love to hear about it.
Or if you understand it differently, I'm actually interested in hearing that too.
Yeah, absolutely. That woman says the problem is when we're talking about charter schools again. Charter schools are bad. They're worse than the worst public school. Our children suffer while someone fattens their pockets. I want to understand a little bit more about how charter schools get funded, and how I keep on. Some people say they're private schools. Some people say they're public schools. Some people say they're private schools that get public funds. I'm hearing a lot about what they are. I'm not too familiar with them, but I do know that they're trying to do a lot of those things out west.
Yeah, I was gonna say whatever it is, Pillen is pushing for it, so you better get her education.
Yeah, that's funny. If Pillen is pushing for it, I got to be like, Pillen is Pete Ricketts' boy, so I got to
Look
now.
at it sideways.
Yeah, I got to take that with a grain of salt. See what that's about. Coming up on 8:30 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, where are we at, buddy? I'm all the way in my thoughts now. So
Oh, we good, man. We actually only have a handful of stories left. If you want to take a quick break, smell the coffee beans a little bit, come
yeah,
back. Big shout out to all the chat chimers out there. The chat has been going off. Even if you're not, responding to us, if you're, engaging in conversation in the chat, that's all right. We appreciate that. Again, conversation rules the nation. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Come on through. First Sky Omaha in full effect. Let's go.
let's do it. Take a quick break. Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, first Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
All of you. Man, if Ronnie Shields is still in, check this out, bro. It's the whole track. Check this out. Like Ronnie says, he ain't asking. Hit that like button and subscribe. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, all of you chat chimers, all of you ghost listeners, appreciate you coming on through. Marianne Williams is setting us straight. She says they are public schools, free tuition. Okay, talking about charter schools.
I had to look it up, man. So apparently a public school is run by local school districts, funded by the public, and must follow all state and federal education laws. A charter school is a public school, but it's not controlled by a district. It's an independent public school.
Okay, independent public school, got it.
So, like, if OPS were to create, curriculum requirements and things like that, everybody has to adhere to it.
Okay.
Independent charter schools kind of dictate that for themselves, but they are funded by the public or private donors, so they can have both. Must follow education laws, but has freedom for some rules. And of course, private schools are completely run by private organizations, funded privately, and have no government oversight.
Got it. Good morning, Zane. Wanted to know that he's feeling better. Wanted me to know. I appreciate that. Good morning, the dude, man. I'm glad you're feeling better, man. That was a scary little story that you gave me yesterday about how you wasn't feeling well. So I'm glad you're feeling better. I was thinking about just remember that our mom is allergic to certain antibiotics. I have a reaction to certain antibiotics, and I'm thinking maybe he did too. I'm not sure. But I'm glad you're feeling better. I'm glad of that for sure. Hope to see you soon, and I appreciate you coming on in this morning. Appreciate that. Thank you very much for clearing that up, Marianne Williams, and Buddy for looking that up. Definitely understanding more about what's going on there, so that we can follow the money better. So we're interesting thing that Pillen is talking about. Pillen's money is supposed to be going to a bunch of charter schools. I'm not really sure exactly now what Pillen's money was supposed to be going to, and why OPS would oppose that plan. Not sure. Mary Williams says each state has its own set of laws on how charter schools are ran. Okay, so that's that might be part of my confusion then, because I first learned about charter schools in California. That might be a different system there. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, different state laws.
Right. All right. Well, cool. Let's move on from that conversation. We'll definitely come back to it another time, another day. But let's move on to try to take care of some of these things before we get to a little bit of the haps today.
Yeah, man. We'll continue, and now we're looking at the city of Omaha following the money, millions and millions of dollars pouring into the city, not just LB 1024, but again, lots of money coming from lots of different places into the city. And this latest lump sum comes from the EPA and the Department of Housing and Urban Development, aka HUD, recently presented the city with $34.3 million in federal funds. HUD provided 4.4 of that, and then the EPA provided another $29.9 million to remove exterior lead-based paint and lead-contaminated yards in the city's lead Superfund site. And that's set to impact about 160 units for low-income families. We're all here today, not just to celebrate and witness our check presentation, but also to demonstrate our collective commitment to finishing the work that we started here to help this community enjoy a healthier life. That's according to EPA Region 7 Deputy Administrator Edward Shue. This is a renewed 7-year agreement funded through the Omaha Lead Special Account bankruptcy settlement. So apparently this is something that is renewed. This article doesn't really say exactly, where this or how this is going to be disseminated, how it's going to be spent, exactly where the the lead super fund site is. So I definitely would like to look into that for more information. But 34.3 million, another bag to look out for.
Justin Wayne was talking about this on the show, also when he was on a William King show, 95.7 The Boss. And also, I saw a clip last night on Channel 3 where he was at the town hall meeting there at North Omaha talking about that too, that there's other funds that he can help people go for. And that's been his biggest thing that he's been saying is there's been like $1.8 billion that's come into the area, state and city. And so, there's other things to do. And he's also talking about other funds that come in every year. Something like 10 million comes in every year from another fund that he wants to keep coming in order to keep economic growth happening and get a piece of that for North Omaha as well. So that is the thing. Like we were been concentrating on LB 1024 just like everybody else has, because the information that we had was that that's money coming into North and South Omaha specifically, and that's not really ever happened. And we kind of forgot about the other monies that were coming in. We forgot about the state that got 100 million, around 103 million or something like that, and the county also got 103. We had talked about those things before, and then never really followed up on who got that money. 1024 we've been following up on it because it's very specific to to people around, it's us and people around us and all that, but we never held accountable where did those first monies go when the county and the city got those $100 million checks. What happened there? So there's still money there, still money out there. They always inform us about senators that are sitting in the wings ready to grab money to do pet projects like lakes out west, so on and so forth. So there's a lot there, and we have to figure out where it's at. The best way we can do that is paying attention to what's going on with the bills and the budget. That's another piece of information that we can really kind of keep our eye on. And as you can see, we got 2 representatives sitting in there that's keeping their eye on the bag, and come in on Fridays to report what's going on. And we just keep on seeing more money. There's more money and more money, and there's ways that we can all ask for it to be put in places that we need it to be put. We can be complaining about the lead situation for years and years and years. So now there's money going to that. So it's interesting that that's an ongoing thing. It's not just this one 1024
every 7 years
check. Right. Absolutely.
Every 7 years. And I did a quick search. The site, the Superfund, the lead Superfund site, apparently covers approximately 27 acres in downtown Omaha. So that's the area that's designated to get some of this money, if not all of it, is the downtown area. Does that seep in kind of the NoDo, 16th 24th Street area? I would say so. But yeah, that's very interesting. And again, which companies is there a or is there a minority owned, quote unquote, company that could do this removal, could get some of these checks? Like, these are the types of things that we should be looking out for, and opportunities that as a community we should be prepared to, because again, once this 250 million from LB 1024 does start coming into the city, some of these things are going to have to be developed. And again, we shouldn't only be looking at opportunities to get the money and invest in a business, but we should also be looking at who's a construction company that can also benefit from some of this. Where are other opportunities for us? So, yeah.
Another thing to look at is where some of that money is supposed to be going. You just mentioned that 16th Street area. They probably do a lot of money, sink a lot of money into the lead testing in the area of where the Sankofa situation is as well. Rick Fulton said Sankofa, and that made me think, okay, so, and then as soon as he posted that, and then you said 16th Street area, you know what I'm saying? So I'm thinking that tech district that we're sitting there talking about, is that one of the places that stuff will go? Is a good question. Also, Terry Crawford brings up a great point. Not a favor to us, mandated by the EPA, because North and Northeast Omaha residents were poisoned for over 100 years, and litigation required remediation, cleanup, and reconciliation. So this is not, them helping us out. This is a court ordered by the EPA to give this money, to put this money out here to clean up our situation because of how long that situation has been going on.
Yeah,
So my next question is where is it going to go? Where's the majority is that going to go? You
yeah.
know.
My thoughts too. 20 it's kind of continuing and wrapping up the other
Mhm.
story because we only have about 20 minutes left. 24th Street is definitely going to get some money. Again, even if some of that lead money doesn't go towards 24th Street, another bag was dropped on the 24th Street streetscape master plan that focuses on Cumming Street to Meredith Avenue. That's going to be to the tune of $7 million. This was presented on Friday afternoon by Representative Don Bacon and Omaha Mayor Gene Stothert, who helped celebrate the first round of funding for the project. So there will be other funds. This was presented to Lavanya Goodwin and the North 24th Street Business Improvement District, who says it's going to take our elected officials to continue the financial and strategic support to fully implement this project that will bring infrastructure equity and catalyze the restoration of this district to a thriving economic destination. Bacon also acknowledged a $750,000 grant.
Yo, buddy, stuck.
As for the streetscape plan, that'll be in the tune of sidewalks, landscaping, crosswalks, that type of stuff.
The stuff that she was on the floor arguing about getting right away.
Yep.
Yeah, interesting. Okay.
So she found a way to get it. But I'm interested and want to wrap that up into what Kimra is saying in the chat. She says Cliff Albright told me that Omaha, following the Atlanta plan for revitalization of the areas where the projects were, is a bad idea. She says Atlanta just went through the same revitalization process. And this is something that I have been saying for years now.
Mm-hmm.
If you remember, Paul, back when we were at the Malcolm X Memorial Foundation, as Mine and Soul, but I do remember a couple board meetings where some people came in to try to buy some of the Malcolm X land to put a bike trail through it. Mm-hmm. And that bike trail was following what used to be a railroad trail surrounding the city. That same thing happened here. And I came to Atlanta specifically in the West End, which is a historically African-American community. And a predominantly African-American community. If you go through the West End, it feels a lot like 24th Street. It feels a lot like 16. That area is slowly being gentrified. What started that is, and I'm not talking about like good gentrification. I'm talking about displacement gentrification.
Mm-hmm.
That started because of what's known as
colonization is what you're talking about.
Right. Colonization. Thank you. That started because the Beltline. The Beltline is a loop that literally goes around the city of Atlanta that follows the railroad line. And what is being seen is a lot of the development around this Beltline is causing displacement. And you're seeing, bike shops and microbreweries and coffee shops. And we all know what that looks like. We all know what that means. We all know what that is. That's what we're going. That is what we're seeing. And that's what we're going to continue to see in Omaha. And that's exactly what Cliff Albright is talking about, what Sister Kimra is talking about, what I've been talking about. Yeah, and that's a part of this Omaha Atlanta connection that we've been talking about as well.
There you go. Brianna Full in the chat. Appreciate you coming on, man. We really got to talk about you coming through and giving us a little bit more of a report. We were earlier talking about the whole public schools, the whole Pillen plan, and how OPS said no. She provided a fact: $17 million. It would take $17 million out of OPS budget, which is one of the reasons why they said no. So appreciate that bit of information. And also, she said that we should get somebody from Sankofa on the show. That was what we understood. Understood first was that Justin Wayne was part of Sankofa, and that's why we had him on to ask him directly about those things. He told us very promptly on the show, though, that he had taken himself out of it. He helped get things set up and then taking himself out of it, so there's no conflict of interest. There wasn't any conflict of interest anyway, legally or any other way in the first place. So he told us that. So now, yes, it would be great to ask somebody else from Sankofa to come on and talk about what's going on in those projects on 16th Street, and we will look into doing that for sure. Rick Fulton in the chat says, by the way, LB 1024 was a bill from last session to distribute the money the legislature needs to pass another bill this session. I'd like to know which bill that will be.
Yep, still being discussed. According to Senator Wayne, because I asked that specific question on Friday, and according to Senator Wayne, that bill isn't going to be discussed or make its way through committee or appropriations that it needs to go through. I believe he said to March, like to late March, to like after March, when those bills, because there has to be a process for the bill to even be proposed. So we're in that process.
So I want to give a shout out to the senators for doing that town hall, really trying to answer more questions and calm people down that were upset about certain things, so they can really kind of distribute that information about it. Because the thing that people need to take away is it's not just about 1024. There's so much more money out there, and so many other ways to help. If we can not trip over ourselves, then we can make some plans and really kind of allow it, really kind of tap into these things. Like I said, I've learned more about what kind of funds are out here through our visits with Terrell McKinney and Justin Wayne, and even Carol Blood, and even Tony Vargas, and even Megan Hunt, other people that are out there putting those things together as well. So I've learned a lot about the funds that are out there, what they're supposed to be for, how to have access to them, and a lot of things. So, and what that's my takeaway. My takeaway is, LB 1024 was just one portion. There's $1.8 billion out there, and as you can see, it's money trickling in different places all the time. Brianna Full says that bill was LB 531, but it's a shell bill. So you're talking about the bill about what's the monies that's coming up this year
for 1024. The follow up bill to that is apparently LB 531.
Yeah, and can't get through. Won't be talked about until March. Is what we heard from.
And she says, which means there's nothing in it.
Right. Mama God in the chat says, I remember about 17 years ago, there was a program that trained people for lead abatement and paid for certification. Yeah. That'd be good to have again if there's going to be some money out there to be testing for lead, for sure.
Again, about 15 years ago, I want to say, I was a part of the lead coalition. Like that was a paid thing. As far as that program, to go from school to school to teach about lead contamination. I was like, there was like a play that they put together with kids in the community, and I was one of the kids in the play. But again, we went from school to school to teach about lead contamination. So like you said, this has been something that has been going on. There's been money being poured into the community for that. It's just, who gets it, where does it go, how's it being spent is really my question.
Interesting. Man, something's going on with the internet over on your side over there. Yep.
Should I restart?
It looks like it's okay now. You look fine now. Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna move on real quick on the chat. Ghost Listener 402 says, Spark pushing bike trail in North Omaha.
Yep.
But that bike trail is not the same as that loop situation with the train tracks and all that. That's not the same?
I want to say it is.
Are you sure?
I believe so.
We'll ask because that's Manny about town. That's chat chimers that we can ask that about. So we'll definitely do that. Also, let's see. The Ghost Listener 402 says reason why we need North Omaha media. He earlier said that you can't trust other news. Wish the Star was more active. I think the Star is getting more active now. I saw some posts that Terry Sanders was doing where she was on YouTube talking about some of the news. I know that they've stepped up the paper to once a week now instead of once every 2 weeks. So kind of on their way. Definitely got to find funding in order to help do that, and also find a team, a squad. We've always put it out there that we would love to be a part of what Omaha Star is doing and get Omaha Star to the next level. We definitely are moving for Sky Omaha to that piece there. Like I said, we'll be generating our own news that you'll be able to see on the website. And that we're doing that because we're kind of trying to fill a little bit of a void about the information that there's out there, man on the street kind of information from North and South Omaha. So we're working on that. Rick Fulton says, does the first Sky Omaha people know why the FBI raided Omaha City Council Vice President Vinnie Palermo's house? Am I the only guy who thinks the Omaha City Council besides Johnson has no credibility because of the streetcar fiasco? A couple of different questions you have there. We did talk about the FBI raiding the house. In the situation there was supposedly some kind of money embezzled, and uh, they for some reason the FBI got involved, which we
Yeah.
still don't know why. We don't know, the whole thing seems a little strange when we look at the whole picture. When we think about Greg Gonzalez, his wife, what his wife has gone through at the police department, his brother, Vinny Palermo being part of that situation as well. All of it seems real kind of like uh, something to look into. I'm not really sure. Also, Omaha City Council. As far as credibility is concerned, I'm not. I mean, that's definitely your opinion on that. I'm not really sure about what can get done with city council, and what can't. I'm not sure what their motives are and what their agenda is. Um, but I'm learning more and more as we try to present our agendas, and as we try to have more conversations and push what we're trying to push. We're understanding,
Yeah.
um,
To my
brother.
understanding, the streetcar situation was more so the mayor's office.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. Uh, I think that that's definitely something that they pushed, and but now now there's infrastructure things that they're trying to slide in there. We talked about that. It is kind of a fiasco for sure. That streetcar situation. Not really sure. No, a lot of people were against it in the first place.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
unneeded.
Because again, I do think the mayor's office was behind pushing and promoting and putting the ducks in a row for that streetcar situation. But I do know that TIFF is highly tied to that. Again, we're calling that whole corridor TIFF Alley, and I do know that TIFF has to go through City Council. So, yeah, it's very interesting. Very interesting point.
There you go. Ghost Listeners 402, man. We need to talk. I mean, you might be one of the people that we can get on our team and really put some things together for hyper local news. I mean, this is what we're shooting for too. We saw the gap. That's why we're here, and definitely trying to put something together. We'll see. He's also asking what the hell the old elected like Ben Gray and Brenda Council quiet stuff going on back then. I've talked to Brenda Council a few times. I'm not sure what I haven't heard anything from Ben Gray, of course, but I have heard stuff from Brenda Council. She's always in the background, assisting and mentoring and giving great wisdom, put some respect on her name as well,
Yeah,
about some things too. She's not in the forefront of the scene anymore because she's not elected.
she's an elder too. Like she been in the
Elder,
game.
elder, been in the game, but from way back for sure. Brent been great too, man. And there's even though people had their problems with him, there's a lot that you can learn, a lot that he did.
Hmm.
So it would be great to be able to have access to the elders and be able to get advice and stuff like that too. Advice is not direction; it's advice. So I am actually more encouraged by the younger generation that is out here making moves and turning the corners on things right now. And me, I'm a big elder advocate. I'm a big elder. I think that you always got to have elders and mentors around you in order to give you some direction. But I also think that you got to be your own person and make your decisions that based on the advice that you get from elders and also the stuff you see and also the stuff you talk to your peers about. In an overall way, I'm definitely seeing more action, more movement, more discussion, more talk, more progressive thinking from younger folks right now than I am from what the elders have been talking about.
Yeah.
But I still very much value the the elders' advice in a
I
big way.
mean, has to be teamwork makes the dream work, baby. I'm trying to tell y'all. You
Yeah,
need the energy of the youth and the wisdom of the elders. You can't do one without the other because the energy of the youth without the wisdom is just going to go everywhere and not really be focused or appointed and not get anything done. And the elders, they've been doing it so long, they kind of, tired.
yeah.
Reasonably so. So, got to put the old school in the back seat, but not out the car.
I watched. Someone want to put him in the trunk though, but that's still not out
Yeah,
the car.
no. Yeah, they can't. Hey, the elder can't tell you to go left or right from the trunk.
I watched a thing about MC Search interview on Drink Champs recently.
Okay.
He said something really profound, man. He was like, in my 20s, I was a learner. All I did was listen. I just learn, made a bunch of mistakes, kept learning. He said, in my 30s, I was a learner and an earner, and so I started on my path, but I was still learning, still had things to learn. He says in my 40s I was a learner and a earner and a burner. He was like, I made more money in my 40s than I did in my whole entire life. And he's like, and now in my 50s, I'm a learner, burner, earner, and returner. So now I'm
Mm.
giving back to the community, and I'm giving, I'm plugging people in with other people and so on and so forth. And I thought to myself, when I think about elders and I think about kids and I think about those in betweeners, the in betweeners, you like you said, you need the advice from the elders, you need the energy of the youth, but you need the money from the
Yeah. Yeah.
from the earner class, which is
Man,
this age.
this is how the family dynamic is supposed to work. Look at African tribes. Look at this is how the family dynamic is supposed to work. The elders who are about to go, who've lived a whole bunch of life, they're really supposed to be raising the children, because you got the people that's about to go passing the wisdom down to the people that are just coming in, and the people that have already gained the wisdom from the other elders are now working, and they're the ones. So while the middle generation works and kind of be the head of the household, you got the elders passing the wisdom, teaching, being elders, and then you got the youth learning how to be industrious and kind of taking it all in. And therefore, you don't lose anything. You don't lose any knowledge from generation to generation, and you don't lose any manpower. Everybody has a role to play.
Interesting. Interesting stuff. Last 5 minutes of the show today. I definitely want to shout out to 50 years of hip hop. I got to do it.
Man, hip hop,
This is a very, very important milestone
one of the
because
elements.
hey, I like it. I like it. Two turntables.
Yeah, man.
A lot of stuff that I've got to that I've been learning. A lot of stuff that I learned. Some of that stuff that I've learned came from hip hop. Came from early hip hop, especially when they were really trying to teach in hip hop, show in hip
Man.
hop. They were trying to show and prove and show and improve in hip hop early on, so that you really kind of knew something and learned something, understood something. So I want to give it, even what we're talking about right now, the African diaspora. I learned a lot about coming from Southern California, where there was not a whole lot of that kind of education and not a whole lot of that community. I learned a lot about the just listening to native tongues, listening to De La Soul, listening to Jungle Brothers, listening to Rakim, listening to people from what's the percent, what's the it's a what's
5% Nation.
the 5% Nation. So much
Wu-Tang.
you learn from that. Wu Tang, so many people, man. Mathematics, the steps, all these things that weren't presented to me at all in the areas that I was in. Learned from hip hop and got interested in because of hip hop, and that's
Mhm.
just really what it is. Hip hop. Somebody said last night, Nori from Drink Champs, which he gets on my nerves. By the way, I ain't get into that. I can't stand that cat talking, man. I was shut up and let this other person talk.
Ah.
But he did say one profound thing last night that I really liked, which was that hip hop is a race. He thinks of hip hop as a race.
Yeah.
It's not a it's a movement that has no color boundaries. And I thought about that because me and you always say quote unquote black, quote unquote white, because there is no such thing as black or white. They are not races. But they are constructs that got made up for hierarchy. Well, this is a construct that got made up too. Hip hop as a race is also a construct that's made up, but made up for a different reason. It's made up to unite everybody.
Um, I mean, we got 2 minutes, man. Like, you look at the history of hip hop and what it really is. Um, it's a nation, it's a culture. Like, hip hop, like, if you look at the definition of culture, what an actual culture is, hip hop is a culture. And shout out, I know there's some turmoil, I know there's some controversy surrounding his name, but shout out to African Bambaataa, because Africa Bambaataa, was one of the true pioneers of hip hop. And he got the name Africa Bambaataa by going to Africa, gaining some actual knowledge, gaining some actual cultural knowledge, really like the man, like some prophets, like a lot of people did, as far as going back to the motherland, getting some of the keys of culture, because Africa is the motherland of culture, is the cradle basket of culture. He brought that back to New York and created hip hop. Like, there are real things in the culture of hip hop if you look at it, and what came out of hip hop, higher infinite power helping our people. It is a real thing.
Yeah.
And I can go all day, but
Bambaataa went out there and talked to the Zulu Nation and came back and created Zulu Nation in America.
thank you.
Yeah. There's a lot, bro. Like, especially my generation. My generation of hip hop, like I said, Native Tongues, Jungle Brothers, De La Soul. You know, these Poor Righteous Teachers, X Clan. These are all people that taught us about stuff that we had no idea about. Found some pride. Back in the day, they were starting off with the gold chains, and then all of a sudden they switched to African medallions. I
Man,
learned a lot about all that stuff came from hip hop, man, and that's why it's such a tragedy about some of the things that's going on today. Hip hop is not here to show improve or show and improve anymore. It's here because there are white corporations running it, and these young cats are out here to show the ugliest of the ugly, and that's what they're getting paid to do. That's where the money's at, because
yep,
that's that, and that's why you don't see conscious hip hop. You don't see things anymore on that level. You got to be a Kendrick or a J. Cole now in order to say anything positive, and that's because they sell so many records. They're undeniable. Lots to talk about this subject, and I like to tie it into the scene in Omaha as well. There's so many hip hop. There's so many scenes in Omaha. Culture House is really developing a lot when it comes to MCs, when it comes to musicians, when it comes to DJs, when it comes to perpetuating the culture. If you want to see what hip hop can build, go to the Culture House
definitely.
out here in Omaha. So lots more to talk about. Pop says also can't forget about the ancestors, the last poets. Michelle Trosclair is doing a ode to hip hop whole situation here with a conjunction with Benson Theater and the Culture House, and she's got a talk that's coming up. It's going to be history of hip hop class with Michelle Troxclair at 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on February 19th. It's a free event happening at the Culture House. She's going to take it back to Last Poets, because you know she's a poet. She's going to take it back to Africa, where hip
Man,
hop started. So definitely you want to check out that class. This is the flyer here that has all of the events going on here. The DJ battle just passed. The next thing that's happening is we're going to be watching Crush Groove in 80s gear. We're going to be dressing up in 80s gear. I'm going to dig my parachute pants out here from somewhere, and
man,
we're going to get to the Benson Theater and check that out. Excuse me. Then the 19th at Culture House, again, free class, History of Hip Hop with Michelle Troxclair, taking it all the way back. On the 12th, there's a hip hop concert. Um, Oh, I'm sorry, I missed. I skipped one. The 12th is a hip hop concert with Marcy Yates, Light Pole, Thailand Music, and the Winning DJ, which is happening February 12th at Benson Theater. Then there's the free class, and then the last thing is back at the Benson Theater, February 22nd, a free showing of KRS-One's 40 Years of Hip Hop movie, and then a discussion between Michelle Trosclair and the purveyor, the number one purveyor and educator of hip hop in Omaha, Nebraska, in the Midwest, as far as I'm concerned, the whole region, Houston Alexander. Houston Alexander is single handedly keeping hip hop alive in schools, with kids, with everything. And when I look at that brother's history, how he was a writer, a breaker, a rapper, and you know, now he's here, he's done radio, now he's a DJ, and he's of course an MMA star. This cat has been holding it down on more than the four elements of hip hop for since it started in a big way, just as hard as anybody out of New York and L.A. So, I give that man props all day long. He's going to be having a discussion at Benson Theater with Michelle Troxclair about the history of hip hop. So shout out to them for doing all those things. Be looking for it. We'll keep talking about it all week. We really want everybody to show up and show out for this. This is one of the ways that we're celebrating 50 years of hip hop in Omaha, Nebraska.
man.
With that said, 903, buddy, you got some words for the people?
Man, big shout out, to everyone for the chat went off today. The chat was very, very active. We appreciate
Yeah.
everyone who chimed in and chimed up. That's what it's about. Letting your voice be heard, letting your mind be free here on First Sky. So we appreciate you, we love you, we thank you. Big shout out to all of the ghost listeners out there. You're going to and fro, doing your morning thing while listening to us. We appreciate you as well. As always, man, catch the same time, same place, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, right here on First Sky Omaha in the morning. And with that, Paul B.
Yo.
Take it away.
Yep. Again, I want to thank all the chat chimers for sure. We apologize for not having Karlha Valesquez on. We'll get with her and have her back on very soon. Got to find out everything's okay there, and we'll do that. But don't forget, we got Women's Wednesday coming up. Precious McKesson will be politicking with P. Kimmerer Snipes, seeing what's good in the hood. Put some respect on their names. Really appreciate all of them that come through too. And then we'll talk more with the brothers senators, Terrell McKinney and Justin Wayne. Put some respect on their names for the legislative report on Friday. So definitely check it out. Go to Friends of First Sky Omaha, join the page, and check out. There's definitely more discussion that happens over there on that page, and also some of the HAPs, flyers, and things you can catch over there to make sure that we're out here supporting what we can support. On top of that, also hit us up anytime on Friends of First Sky Omaha or the First Sky Omaha page. Send us a private message. Let us know what you're thinking. Let us know what you're feeling. Let us know what improvements we could be making as well. Love to hear from you, the chat chimers, and the ghost listeners that have proven that you're down with us by keep on coming back the way you have. So shout out to y'all for that. Pop says, man, this show goes so fast. It's crazy. Love it and love you guys and the First Sky fam. See you all on Wednesday. Thanks, Pops. Appreciate you. That woman says, have a marvelous day. Everyone drink water. Be good to yourselves. Please do that. For sure. Shout out to Oakland because of that woman as well. Appreciate you. Man. You know, Too Short was on that 50th too. You saw that, right?
Hey.
Yeah. Go check out the celebration of hip hop on the Grammys last night. I'm sure it'll be on a YouTube thing here soon. Check that out. But thank you very much. Shout out to the Omaha Tribe elders for allowing us to be on this land and speak while we're here. Shout out to our elders for allowing us to speak before them, even if we've been putting them in the back seat. We promise we won't put them in the trunk. And shout out to the chat chimers for letting us speak with you as well, and for you bringing all this wonderful information and great things and setting us straight on things and having deep discussions about all these things so we can fully understand them and take action. Really appreciate y'all for real. Thank you very much for all the people that are reoccurring members and sponsors of the channel as well. It helps us keep this thing going and helps us expand. We really are trying to bring in some more people that can take some action and report some news in North and South Omaha, the news that we want to report. I was watching the Grammys last night. Then I started watching Channel 3, and they talked about that town hall with the brother senators. And then I couldn't find it anymore. Like, it wasn't important enough to put on the website. But the news where we come from right now is what the brothers was talking about at North High last night. So and we're gonna continue to do that. That's why we're here, because we don't get the whole story from the mainstream news as well. So that's why we're here. We're going to keep on building out our news portion so that we can have more things to talk about, discuss, and take action on. With that said, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here, get off my soapbox. Thanks for joining us again. First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning. We'll see you Wednesday. Take care of yourselves. Peace.
Brian Windhorse, huh?
What happened? What am I missing?
No, it was a chat. Apparently, ESPN analyst Brian Windhorse lives in Omaha.
Bro,
I know that.
I was gonna say that, and I forgot to say something.
Yeah, that's what threw me off. I was like, "What,
bro? Okay. We need to talk. I wonder.
Fulton.
Okay, all right, brother Fulton. Let's talk, because I wonder. We've always wanted to put some stuff in there. You know, we wanted to go that direction. I wonder if we could. I wonder if that's something that we can collab on. We'll see. Tracy Shot says, have a great day. Good to hear from you. Mama Guy says, bye, first fan. Appreciate you. Appreciate all y'all, man. Enjoy the weather today. 50-degree weather today still. Marianne Williams says, thank you. Kimber Snipes says, I went to Culture House last night for a hot minute. All right, cool. Let us know how all this went. Love to hear from y'all. We're going to get out of here. We'll see you Wednesday. Peace.
By the way, Vanguard. This is protected by the red, the black, and the green. At the crossroad, with the key.
By any